Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. SICW.
For your sake, we better not have been. No.
I'll say it in person. Anybody? Come on. I'll talk to you. Welcome to the Square Week Podcast, everybody. Episode 121 or 122. I know it's in the 120 somewhere.
121. Wow, that's. I mean, I don't know if it's 121 or 122 since you just brought that up. But crazy, over 100 episodes, going strong. But we got a couple controversial topics, I guess. Mainly just one.
And one of them's from Vegas that involves Jim and some bacon and some feet, but no, that's Bobby's thing to talk about.
That's private videos right there.
All right, well, let's just hit up Vegas first. Yes, we took a trip out to Vegas for the CAC, and that's the Cauliflower Alley Club. It was a great trip. Not necessarily the beginning of my trip was great. It kind of sucked. And I'll just say,
I mean, while yours was sucking, I was out watching death matches at a dive bar out there.
Well, so mine started off
What happened?
Monday instead of Sunday, because on Sunday we were supposed to take a plane trip out to Vegas at about 2:30. About 2:30, which would make us there about 4:30ish, maybe 5. However, there was a malfunction with our plane, and they kept pushing our time back, and then the pilot's hours went through, so he could no longer fly the plane. They were trying to tell us around midnight that, about 11 o'clock, they were trying to tell us they're trying to still find a pilot and hoping to get us out of there by midnight. That didn't happen. About 11:30, they went ahead and called it and said that tomorrow morning is when we're going to get you guys to Vegas. So it sucked because I had a lot planned in the beginning 2 days of my trip. And Sunday.
Let's also throw on there real quick. On this plane, you had 12 SICW, either workers, fans, trainees, refs.
Yeah, it was
loaded with our people.
It was not a good day. But yeah, so Sunday,
Another organization that happens to be in St. Louis. Let's screw with them more.
Well, Sunday I wanted to actually try to go out there, and my whole plan was to watch it or be part of it. That wrestling event that happens down there, and it's called On the Fly, and it would be really cool to be in. Because the legends are in the audience, and literally all the wrestlers are in gear in the audience as well. And a legend will stand up and say, I want to see this guy and that guy go at it. And literally you get up from your chair and go straight to the ring and have a match. And
we did have some representation in it. I know he's only worked with us once or twice. That Michael Sean's guy was in it. Joe Helms was in it. And then our referee, Bill Hinton, was in it.
Really? Bill was there too?
He was refereeing in there.
And then Royce Adams was in it too, Crush's son, which I was kind of shocked to hear and see about because, when he was on the podcast, he wasn't thinking about going back to CAC this year. But he was, and I ended up meeting up with him and taking a picture of him with him. And but yeah, so I missed out on that. And then Monday, we were supposed to rent a car and go to California and actually spend the day with my middle child and hang out with him, his wife, and a granddaughter that I have not seen. So that got ruined. So that kind of sucked because we ended up getting there Monday afternoon. and Monday was the only slot that I could. It was the only time that the CAC didn't have anything going on until Monday night. But I did make it for Monday night at the CAC, which was the roast of Mick Foley, and that didn't disappoint. I wish we could show some clips. It was filmed for Netflix, supposedly, so Netflix will probably have it out there shortly. I think one of the comedians recorded his set, and you can
I just
see
posted
that
on my Facebook.
Yeah, you can see that on TikTok or Bobby's Facebook. So the panel, not the panel, but the dais is what they call it. You had Greg the Hammer Valentine. You had Jake the Snake Roberts. You had the Grappler. You had the Cuban Assassin. Missy Hyatt.
She got hammered hard.
Oh my God.
Wasn't that a problem her career? No.
There was a lot of the jokes about that.
Yep. I imagine.
There was another lady on the dais too who was in the WWE for a while. Can't think of her name. Was it Vicky something or Vic or
No, Birchill. Katie
yeah,
Birchill.
yeah, remember the last name. She played a sister to a wrestler.
So a pirate.
Yeah, the pirate wrestler. But it was a twisted thing that they did because they were like closer. Well, I mean,
They almost had an Arkansas relationship.
right. And that was their thing in the WWE.
A little rock.
And then, like 5 or 6 comedians. So it went pretty well. And I mean, right out the gate, they started with a comedian who just automatically started hammering Jake the Snake Roberts and all his drug problems that he had. I mean, some of them nailed Greg the Hammer Valentine for in the 80s looking like such a stud, and now he looks like his Aunt Karen or Aunt. He just said how Greg the Hammer Valentine is starting to look like an old lady now. There was the one guy who talked about Missy Hyatt. One of the burns that he did was Missy Hyatt's hoo-ha. And what does Missy Hyatt's hoo-ha and Mankind's mask have in common? I'll ask you, Nate. Bobby already heard it. Take a guess. What do those two things have in common?
I have no idea.
Everyone wants to see it, but no one wants to smell it.
I was thinking in a completely different direction, but that was better.
Oh no, they were hitting everyone hard. Which was great. It almost, I mean, when WrestleMania last year happened, they did that roast, and they said that roast will not get out. No one will see it because it was so over the top. I mean, a lot of this roast was just the same, and it was. I mean, it was very cool. There was one or two, maybe the comedians that didn't pull off their set, but the rest of them did. And Alonzo Bodine is a black comedian that I talked about on this podcast that I've met many a times, and I knew he was going to have a good set, and he did. And it all started off with like, what the hell am I doing here? This is taking too. It was the right time because I think the roast almost went 2 hours, maybe a little over.
I think it went over.
And he was one of the last ones. And
he even said, "This is going way longer than I'm supposed to be here."
Yeah, you're lucky that friends with the guy who's hosting it because it's gone way too long. I'm the only one that's basically a celebrity here, and all these other guys are all washed up alcoholics or dates or coked heads, and he just went on, and it was great.
I don't
hopefully
know.
it doesn't come out
I like Alonzo, but I wouldn't qualify him as a celebrity by any means.
So I just looked it up. I wanted to make sure I got it right. A message that I had sent after the roast that like as much as Missy Hyatt did get like hammered hard during the roast, she did have a good line if she's honored to be here, despite the wrestling business crapping on her worse than a Vince McMahon three-way.
Yeah, I mean, they all had the shots. It was
Do you keep hearing him cut out, Bobby?
Yeah, Jim keeps cutting out on me too.
no, well, all you guys just cut on me, out on me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it was just a great show. So that's what started out the CAC. Great. The next day was Tuesday. Now I'm going to give my props to the CAC and then my negatives to the CAC. So Tuesday started not really the lectures or seminars. They call it seminars, but it's basically where they take a bunch of the legends that are there to talk about one certain subject. And the first one was about Florida Championship Wrestling, which I know quite a bit about, but I wanted to hear, shit that I didn't already hear. And like I wanted to know, when did it start? There was a bunch of suicides from all the promoters that happened there, because it was a father, then it was a son. Dusty Rhodes was the booker there, for the longest time. So many of these stories that I wanted to hear, and really, and no offense to the guys there, but there should have been a better guy hosting it to dig deep into Florida Championship Wrestling. They basically just told road stories, which there's a time and place for. I love hearing road stories, but I was there to learn about a particular organization. And the only thing I learned, which I didn't know, that the promoter was a bad payoff guy. So he didn't pay you guys for nothing to work there, even though they had all the stars there. They had the Ric Flair, the Dusty Rhodes, all the top names. So I was kind of disappointed in that. And then, was it Tuesday? Tuesday we had normally what they call the Bologna blowout. It wasn't Bologna this time. It was
So there's some pasta, salad, little.
Yeah.
We're called a buffet almost, more like a catering buffet.
Yeah. I mean, there were some cool things that happened there because that was where they handed out some of the awards. And so, I mean, it was topped off by Natalie Neidhart. She got the top award, and that was the Lou Thez Award, in which she actually made history because she was the first female wrestler to ever win that award. And she was very nice. She took pictures with people afterwards. They did do a signing with her earlier that day where you could have paid to have an autograph and a picture and everything. Steve Richards did the 2025 Independent Wrestling Award. El Fantasmo, I probably butchered that. Fantasma, yeah, El Fantasma got the Lucha Libre Award. Let's see here. Yeah, so Tom Pritchard got his award that night, which was the Ron Hutchinson Trainers Award. But it was a very cool night, and of course, afterwards, was it that night we went to see the midget wrestling?
Tuesday, yeah, I believe so.
So Tuesday we went to see we went to the Nerd Bar, which is a bar that we go to every year.
And one of, I'm guessing, Glenn Williams' new flunkies, Little Nasty, was there.
Yeah, so It was pretty cool. Last year they had a guy. What was his name?
No idea what you're saying.
Jackson, I think, is what his wrestling name is.
Santino Jackson. Yep. He was at the dive bar with the death matches that I went to.
Wow.
That was Saturday.
So last year he wrestled against a guy named 25 Cent, and 25 Cent was still there this year.
Yep.
And they put on a good show. I mean, it's a bunch of midgets. They tour. This happened to be just a group that was there for that night. But man, yeah, they put on a funny show. It was mainly all, you know, some of it was hardcore, you know, where they are hitting each other with things. There was a wrestler there that was from Iowa. Matter of fact, he was from Waterloo, Iowa, and he was wrestling as a midget per se, because he had no legs no more. So it was a half of a regular man, I guess you would say, because he had no legs and he was missing half of his hand, and only been wrestling a year. And I tell you, he did a great job. Um, for under a year of knowing how to wrestle, and the way he moved around that ring, it was incredible. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, so after that, you know, the shenanigans of Vegas, you know, you hit the strip, Bobby always wears his beer cooler with beer. So we hit the strip and just drank beer all night. Bobby, of course, stayed out later because he's the bad boy of the group. But yeah, so Tuesday was in the books. It was a great time. Wednesday, again, some seminars, and I went to both because one was about it was up in the Seattle area. It was I can't think of the name of the organization now, but it was like Seattle area, Washington. Um, Roddy Piper wrestled there for the longest time before he jumped to WWF. But again, too, that one was kind of uh,
Portland.
Isn't there one called Pacific?
Was it Portland?
Portland Wrestling. You know, and Portland Wrestling, that's also where a great storyline happened. And they touched up on the subject, but didn't do it any justice. And Matt Bourne, who most people know as Doink, there was a guy and his sister that was working up in that area, and everyone hated Matt Bourne, you know, because he was the knucklehead that would in the locker room would just come up to you and punch you for no damn reason, or in your wrestling match will do something to actually harm you for no reason. He didn't have a reason for any of it except for being stupid. But he took the sister, and they went away for a while and got married. And it pissed off this guy. And I want to say he had part of the promotion. And so they literally had a real feud because the guy didn't like Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne was married to the guy's sister. And they literally beat the crap out of each other every time they were in the ring. But you know, they danced around it. They didn't really talk much about it. They didn't talk about. I wanted to know how. And at the time, I knew the promoter's name, but I wanted to know how he got into wrestling, how he got in to be a promoter, because most promoters start off as wrestlers. They didn't talk about any of that. They didn't talk about when it was formed, how it ended. I wanted to know if Vince McMahon had the power to end that one like he ended a lot of organizations. They didn't go into any of that. And I just wanted more details about Portland. And I didn't get it. And then the biggest faux pas, I guess you would say, They had Abdul the Butcher and they had Mick Foley, of course, there because they were both getting their awards that night. So they had a signing at the same time. Another panel was going on, and it had the likes. It wasn't a. It almost seemed like an SICW panel because Herb Simmons was on it, Gary Jackson, Dennis McCall, otherwise known as Attila, and a few other wrestlers. And it was talking about how to become a wrestler and what's the etiquette of being a wrestler and how do you survive the time period that they did, because it was right when Vince was buying everything up. So they couldn't really go to the WWF because Vince had so many freaking wrestlers already because he had bought all these territories. And WCW had, like if Vince McMahon took the A team, like say he bought a territory, Vince McMahon would take the top 5. Well, that means the other 20 guys in the locker room went down to WCW. So you couldn't go to WCW and you couldn't go to WWF. So you were pretty much in limbo. So they talk about how they survived and still capitalizing on their dreams. And it was a good panel. Ricky Santana was on the panel. There was the guy from Canada who was the independent wrestler of this year. He's on it, but it wasn't full. Like the audience wasn't there because half of them were in line to meet Mick Foley and to meet Abdul the Butcher.
Bobby, so I was like getting to that one because I was.
Yeah, like I said, Bobby being one of them. But at the same time, there was an auction going off. It was a silent auction, and I had bid on a few things. And while the seminar was going on, they closed the auction. So that kind of rubbed me wrong because I didn't want to leave the seminar figuring that I could look at the auction afterwards before they close up so I could make sure I was winning the stuff I wanted to win. But they shut it down, closed it up while the seminar was still going on. So somehow I was able to win one item, but the other ones I wasn't. And one of these items was this huge tapestry that
so
they
if
had.
you look at the picture that Nate has up, it's on the far left-hand side.
It's the Mick Foley tapestry. It had all 3 faces of Foley. It was huge. I mean, it would have filled up my whole wall. And I was thinking, man, that would be great for the background of our at least my screen on the podcast. So that was the one I was really hoping to win, and I didn't because one bet $1 more than I did, so I lost it by a freaking $1. But, so I was a little teed off about that. But that night, one that people.
Was this one run worse than last year's? Because it doesn't seem like this one went as smooth.
It was about the same, I guess. The seminars last year, I think, were a little bit better. Just because they had more details about things. And that's what I like. When you guys call me the wrestling historian, and I didn't get that this year. I didn't get the historian part. I got road stories, which was cool and all, but I didn't get my history that I wanted to know. But yeah, so that was Wednesday. But Wednesday night was the ceremonies again, and that was the one that Mick Foley won his award. And that boy talked for almost an hour, which is great because he really one funny guy. Speaking of that, he's coming to St. Louis in October. He's doing his comedy routine in St. Louis. I think it's October the 12th.
The problem is he talked for an hour and Herb talked for an hour.
He actually beat Herb, which is funny because, yeah. I even made the comment. I said, "Well, Herb just went 40 minutes. Let's see if Foley can beat it," because they were right back to back. And sure enough, Foley beat him because he talked for 58 minutes, which it was all good. Won his award or his award. It was horrible though because you couldn't hear him. His acceptance speech talks so soft anyway. Like you literally got and it's not like a Jake the Snake where he wants you to lean in and listen to his promo. He just talks softly, and he kept holding the mic out, so he wasn't even talking into the mic. But and then Bob, I knew Bob's acceptance speech. Bob Orton Jr. Had a men's legacy award he was given, and I knew his speech was going to be really short. His was probably 2 minutes, so he made
I don't think it was that long.
Yeah, yeah. His sister is the one that got him inducted, but she's the one that awarded him the plaque. I forgot what they're called. Presented, and she probably talked for a good 10 minutes, and then he gets up there and accepts it, and under 2 minutes.
Basically like, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. It's great having fans. It was, but I knew I was going to do. Surprise!
Like, I've been here, done this.
Another surprise kind of got shocked. So our buddy that was on our podcast, Mr. Race's son, he was not there. His mother was ill, so they had Attila accept the award for Harley Race, and Attila's speech was great. He talked about his time having Harley Race being his mentor, and then his mentor turning into a best friend, and how they remained friends up until the end. So that was pretty cool. Listen to the stories that he had of Harley Race. No extra activities that night except for again going down the strip and drinking a little bit and having some fun. No extra, like another wrestling show or anything like that. But all in all,
we had to get up and get to the airport at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I called it early that night. I was done by 2:30.
Another complaint I have is, I sleeping pills and I got to put a mask, fat and old, trying to go to sleep, and 2:30.
All I heard was sleeping pills, fat and old, and 2:30.
Yeah,
nothing else came through.
That was a lot of cutting out there.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I'm saying that pissed off at Bobby because I have to take sleeping pills. I have to wear a mask and try to force myself to go to sleep. This punk rolls in at 2:30, flops down on the bed, and within minutes I hear him snoring. I'm like, God damn. What kind of bullshit is this? But
I got skills. You just gotta. The secret is to always stay tired.
But I see my screen just flashed, so hopefully you guys can hear me. But yeah, so the flight on the way back home was on time. We got home on time, and it was a great trip out to Vegas. Definitely very cool. Guys, talk for just a second. I got to check on something I actually have in the oven. I'm cooking dinner for tomorrow night. I know it's weird, but give me a second. You guys bullshit for a second.
And them quick nights, like, I got plenty of those where it's like, all right, we only got like 2 hours between work and practices. So quickest thing we can do. Pre-making a meal like that's the best.
Hell, I still do that. I have baked beans still that I made. It took 3 days for me to make it because I do it from scratch and soak the beans and everything.
Well, if you want to make Jim jealous, make some ham and beans.
I can't have pork, so.
Well, just
So I have
just let
turkey
Jim
bacon
smell
and
them.
turkey sausage in there. Huh?
Just let Jim smell them, and he'll yell at you instantly.
That's true.
I used
Although
to
I
bring
think
them.
he like.
I
Go
used to
ahead.
bring him to work, and I could heat him up in the pit. He would be upstairs in his office, and you cooking them damn baked or ham and beans again? He does not like that smell.
That is too funny. I don't like mine really sweet, so anybody else who tries them doesn't like them because they're used to store buying all theirs, and it's a lot of sugar in that.
Yeah.
I don't like sweet. People say it's bitter, but I don't think so. It's just smoky, liquid smoke.
A little of that goes a long way, though.
Well, yeah, if you're used to buying your stuff instead of making it, yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
If you go on my Bobby D Facebook page, a lot of those, when he's talking about the guys getting awards, I have pictures with almost all of them. If you wanted to pull any of those for this.
I will pull your stuff.
I say my regular Facebook page, I did non-wrestling Vegas. As my Bobby D page is where I put all the wrestling ones.
That's the wrong Bobby D. That's
Did you pull up the porn star?
yeah, I pulled up that dude.
That's Bobby's D.
It's okay. I took one look at it and going, yeah, that's not Bobby.
Your ham and beans doing good in there, Jim?
Hell no, I ain't doing ham and beans. I wouldn't even be in my house if someone brought ham and beans over.
Told you he don't like the smell.
Yeah, don't be a hater. I'm doing baked beans, but don't be a hater.
Let me back the story. Growing up, we were just like any common people are. And my parents would cook one meal, and that meal would be enough to feed everyone for a week. And their favorite meal to cook was ham and beans. And I would literally walk home from school and you get about a block away from the house and you can smell that shit. And I wouldn't, and the rule at the house was you eat what's on your plate or you don't eat. So I wouldn't come home the nights that we were having ham and beans. We had a neighbor block away who made their own wine. So with wine, you need a lot of grapes, and they had a lot of grapes in their back. On those 8 grapes, you to them and fucking
You
and
had to have some very good bathroom time after eating that many grapes.
I was fine.
Well, he's probably fighting bathroom time with everybody who was eating the ham and beans.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, as a kid too, because like I said, the rule is if you didn't eat the food for dinner, you didn't eat. Do you guys ever have the blueberry muffin mix where you just add water and then pour it in the cups and cook it? I would snag one of those and my bedroom had a bathroom in it, so I would grab a pouch of that, put some water in that pouch, stir it, and just eat that, just so I'll have something to eat.
Jim was just eating muffin batter.
Muffin batter.
But yeah, so
there you go. You have Gary, Bobby, Natasha, and Attila there.
Natalia.
Yeah,
Natalia.
But yeah, she was very cool.
She's not watching. She won't care.
Like I said, if you guys, and those for the people watching this, if you have not gone to the CAC in Vegas, you're missing out because even though there was some negatives that I said in this video, it's still such a cool experience, and it's such a cool organization for what they do. And matter of fact, Mick Foley has been donating to them all year. And what he would do is, like on his comedy routines, at the end of the show, he would he always wears a shirt and then a flannel shirt or some sort of like collared shirt, button-up collared shirt, and he would take that shirt off and auction it, and then whatever money he gets, he sends to the CAC. And I mean, I can't remember the amount of money, but it was in the thousands that Foley had given back to the CAC.
Yeah.
And he's a lifetime member, and he talks about how he should have been doing this for the longest time, that he's always donated to charities, but once he realized what the CAC does, that he wished that he would have been started and just made that his organization.
So while we're on this picture real quick, I'm going to jump in another little cool thing with Foley. So I went to their autograph signing, and I got my autograph, and then I asked him for a special request without hesitation. He did it, no questions asked. If you go on my Facebook page, I'm a fantasy football commissioner for work, and I was just going around having different Vegas people pull names for my draft order. And I asked him to do that, like draw a name while I record him and read it off. And he's like, he got so excited, like popped up in his chair, like got into character real quick, like very, very nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've met Foley many a times, and he's always been awesome. When he first did one of his children's books, I think it was Halloween Hijinks, I met him and got him to sign that. But I met him a while back, probably a couple years prior to that. He was at a car dealership out in St. Louis doing autograph signings. WWF back in the day used to do a lot of signings, and they were free. All you had to do was go there. And I met, like, even here in Belleville, there used to be a Family Video on 17th Street. Family Video had Lita and Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. And, I got to meet them all that day as well. I mean, now WWE is so money driven. And I know this is a subject that I didn't bring up to you guys, but since I'm talking about WWE,
that's from one of those things that you're talking about right there. I went there with you to that one. It was on a road to WrestleMania, met Hellbilly Jim back when they used to do free ones. This was just at a random bar in St. Louis.
But they already talked about the numbers that they're selling the tickets for WrestleMania next year for. So this year's WrestleMania, front row was 50,000, and second and third row was 30 or 35,000. They've already announced that front row for WrestleMania next year is going to be $70,000, and then it's going to be 50,000 and work itself down to 35,000. So,
and they're dumbass people that are going to go into debt and get loans to do that stupid shit.
So
for an entertainment show.
They already said that they're not going to change their prices until they are out of debt, and that as long as the fans are willing to pay it, they ain't changing it. So again, just like Nate says before, we got to stop paying it to get the change.
And let me throw an alternative out to people. I'm partial to SICW, but go spend $200 at your local wrestling show, get every wrestler's t-shirt and a show for that price.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And I mean,
up close and personal, and those wrestlers will usually take pictures with you afterwards and all kinds of stuff.
As much as I don't
during intermission.
Yeah, as much as I watch AEW, time AEW comes to town, I'll go see them. One, half the roster is old WWE guys, and two, their ticket prices are so much cheaper. $20 can still get you in the door to an AEW show.
Well, TKO already let out that their whole point on this new WWE thing is to compete directly with AEW and put them out of business.
Yeah, they want to put them out of business, and yeah, they were, which is horrible because they need competition, and their competition is basically their butt buddy, where they're using their wrestlers. They're even giving them time slots on cable channels that WWE has. So they're willing to work with them, and it sounds like even last so you can't count them as a competition. So in order for wrestlers to get the money they're worth, to get the time off that they are worth, uh, holidays and birthdays and anniversaries, they weren't getting that shit until they started contracts, and that only came because Eric Bischoff gave the guaranteed contracts. So if WWE loses their competition, it's just going to be horrible for wrestling fans in general.
They have competition, and WWE is horrible.
Yeah, and but just think about what it would be if they didn't have any competition. They can charge whatever they wanted. They'll shove whatever wrestling storyline they want down your throat. There ain't no other places except for the independents. And I was even watching a show, to, and they had a whole bunch of tryees, people trying out, just be put in the system, and they separated them from athletes, and then they separated the independent wrestlers they wanted to be on, and they talked about how they judge the athletes differently than they do the independent wrestlers. That they lean towards the athletes that's been an athlete all their life, and they're really, really strict on the independent wrestlers that they want to bring in because they feel they got to break down a whole bunch to rebuild them, where they can just take an athlete, an ex-football player or an ex whatever, and train them how they want them to be trained. So if WWE runs the whole system, I think it's going to be bad for the wrestlers in general, independent wrestlers, everything. Because if that's how they feel, that they can just bring a football player in or a runway model in, and train them to be the superstars. They don't need independent wrestlers to advance. So it'll just be horrible. All right, back to the topics that we were talking about. Kind of WWE related. Karrion Kross, otherwise known as Kross. Is it work? Is it not a work? But ECW last weekend, there was a match between Matt Cardona versus Shotzi. Shotzi was one of the girls that was released from WWE not too long ago. But Karrion Kross and Scarlett, his wife, interrupted the match and got the match won for Shotzi. He did give a very, I don't know how to say it. It was an interview with a lot of F-bombs and a lot of cursing and saying this is not a work anymore. This should prove it. But GCW has also been known to be, helped out by WWE. So a lot of people are still talking. This could be still a work, and he's not, and he's currently still signed with the WWE. Hopefully, see, it's kind of a double-bladed sword because you want to go to WWE because that's where the money is, but it's also a harder working schedule. But then you get, obviously, more people are famous for being WWE workers than like a TNA worker or an AEW worker. So it's one of those things. Matt Cardona, though, he makes more money doing independence than he ever did in the WWE. So there's still a lot of money
Which he is now going to go against Killer Cross at House of Glory on October 10th.
I have really started liking Karrion Kross, and a lot of fans were chanting for him when they knew this could be his last match. And even after that pay-per-view, the next couple of shows, they still chanted for him, trying to pull a little weight, kind of like they did to R-Truth. But we're still in limbo, so we don't know if he's still under contract or if he's not, and now he's just working the independents, and GCW just happens to be his first spot. We don't know, but as long as he likes where he is, I guess, and they're using him, GCW, of course, is going to use him because he's got a name, and he's
a good wrestler. He's great on the mat.
Yeah,
they'd be dumb not to, no matter what his name is.
Right, he's got a #1 book out right now that he made without WWE. He had this book deal before he re-signed with them, and that was one of the stipulations that he still wanted to put this book out, and it just came out not too long ago. So he is an author now. So everything's going great for him. So hopefully, it can be determined whether he's going total independent or if he's still under contract. In the list of things to talk about, got to give Lex Luger some props. Over the last week or so, it's been talked about how DDP, he's still working with DDP on getting his mobility down, and they got him some new device that helps him relearn how to walk without him falling down or anything like that. So it helps build those muscles back up. And without the device, he can take more of more than just a few steps. So he's on the road. They talked about how when he went into the Hall of Fame this year, he wanted to walk from the curtain to the podium, but couldn't do it because he had taken a stumble out of a car or out of an airplane or something that same weekend, and he wasn't stable to walk. So he only took a few steps from the wheelchair to the podium. So this is on a bigger note that he's able to do this now. So we got to give him props. And it's all this stems from a heart attack that he had that he almost died from. Yeah, so he's doing good. So continue props on that. Let's see. That's all the main topics I wanted to hit. Oh, no, it's not. The main topic is still on the table. Rampage Jackson's son, and I think his name is Raja, and his appearance at an independent wrestling, actually it was Rikishi's independent wrestling show that was backed by WWE, and they actually pulled their ID support away from him now, so that's funny how they moved that quick. But yeah, so they and independent wrestlers. Can you hear me? Because I know I just flashed.
One of that you're cutting out bad on my side.
One of the independent wrestlers named Psycho Stu was talking to him. Thought that Raja or Rajay or whatever you say pronounce his name was a worker and went to smash a beer can over his head or some sort of can over his head, and that pissed him off. They almost got in a fight right then and there. And that probably would have worked out better for Psycho Stu if they would have just fought right there instead of what happened later on. So later on, Psycho Stu had a match, and there was going to be a spot where Jackson came through the ropes and interfered in the match. and him being an MMA guy, picked him up and slammed him. Of course, he probably slammed him a lot harder than Stu is known to take, and knocked him out immediately. And then I heard it's 22 or 23 headshots Jackson gave Stu while he was unconscious.
I gotta say, he was out flat, arms flat, legs flat from the slam before a single punch was thrown.
Yes.
Well, and it goes to show the type of person Raja is. He's a piece of shit, and he should go to jail.
Yeah.
So there were mistakes made all around. Yes, I would say Raja made the most, but he should have never been in that locker room. It is supposed to be a sacred place. You fans or celebrities don't get to go back there. And then he would have never been mistaken as a wrestler and hit. Stu shouldn't have hit him with the beer can in the first place. Like, again, mistakes made all around. But then once you start getting videos of Raja before he jumps in there saying he's going to mess him up and knock this fool out and like all this other stuff. And then again, dude's flat before a single punch is thrown and then threw at least 15 more.
Because he's a piece of shit.
It was in the 20s. I can't remember if they said it was 22 or 23, but it was definitely.
LAPD said 22, but even one. When you're a piece of crap like Raja is and you're weak like he is, you hit people when they're down. I would have had zero problem with it had he put them on the mat and then got up and walked away, not sitting there hitting somebody when they're unconscious. Hell, from the last I know, Psycho is still unconscious in the hospital. I don't know if he's woken up yet.
Oh, supposedly his jaw's broken. He's lost a lot of teeth, swallowed those teeth. So a lot of people were taking sides of Jackson, saying that, that was payback until a video leaked. 2 videos, as a matter of fact. The first video was of Psycho Stu apologizing for the beer, for the can shot, them shaking hands, and basically Jackson accepting the apology that Stu was giving him. So everything should have been cool right then and there. If you accept the apology from the guy, that's pretty much saying that you accept it. You shook hands, you accepted the apology. But then another video surfaced where he was in the crowd before he jumped up, and he was talking about how he's going to fuck this guy up, and that no one was going to disrespect him, and he was going to make an example out of this guy. And that's when he got up into the match and made an example of him.
Another video surface for everybody that says it was a work. Another video surface where he's out of the arena after all of it, pissed off, yelling, "I'm tired of people taking fucking advantage of me. This is what you get."
Yeah, it's a crazy situation.
The dude's a piece of crap, and he's weak. And weak people hit people when they're down.
Some people are still defending him, saying, "Oh, well, he's a trained MMA guy, and they're trained to keep punching until someone breaks them away." And I'm thinking,
goes back to my point. This guy should have never been involved. He should have never been in the locker room. He was a fan. He should have been there as a fan and a fan alone.
Yes.
I've seen plenty of instances where MMA professionals get into a fight with people at bars because alcohol gets involved, and then the average person says, "Oh, I can take you." And the MMA guy, being a professional, hits him once or twice. The guy's on the ground, and that's the end of it. So he's trained is total bullshit. It's about the man himself. He's a piece of crap, and he needs to go to jail for it.
That's where he could really be messing himself over too, because I know if you have a black belt and you get in a fight, you're charged with a deadly weapon. I don't know if the belts matter, if the training matters. If it's just training, he can get charged with some deadly weapons on top of it. Assault with a deadly weapon.
And he needs to. He needs to get his respect in prison.
His
he needs
dad
to sag his pants.
Dad was trying to defend him, saying, "Oh, well, he just had a concussion from a training session that he had."
Of course, Rampage is gonna do that. He's his dad.
See, when I watched that video, I didn't take it as defending him. I took it as he was asking, what the hell was he doing in there? He just had a concussion. He should have never been in there. I didn't take it as it's okay because he had one. I took it as, why the hell is he in there?
Yeah, so it's definitely the hot topic right now. I agree with both of you. There should be some legal action. He should definitely serve some time for this. He should definitely be sued. And I know you had talked about how his daddy's got the money. He don't, but I'm sure there's a way that he can get sued and his daddy have to cover it. You know, because just thinking about it, all the money. I mean, well, all the surgeries this guy's going to have to go through, the hospital stays, the replacement of teeth, the broken jaw, the concussion that he's going to have for the rest of his life. And it's going to be a lot. It's going to be very interesting, and a lot of money is going to be up for grabs here. Now, I do want to say,
even going on further from Bobby's point is, yeah, Jackson should be sued. He should spend 10 years in prison for what he did. But also
Roger.
the promoter, yeah, Roger, the promoter should be sued. And the booker should be sued for allowing that to take place in the first place.
definitely.
He did invite him in there.
And there was another video that was leaked that another independent wrestler was talking to this kid and saying, just get him back in the ring, give him a receipt, in the back of the ring. When a wrestler gives another wrestler a receipt, like you had The Undertaker talk about how he had to give a receipt once because someone got him in the head with a chair extremely hard, like it was going to try to give him a concussion or break his fucking neck. And so, you know what? It was Randy Orton. And it wasn't, I had that reverse. So Randy Orton stiff punched The Undertaker. And how The Undertaker gave him back a receipt was with a steel chair. And he talked about, hey, it was my fault. I did stiff punch him. And he did get me back. But he got me back where I was still protected, but it was harder than normal, so it was a receipt, one and done. You don't hit the guy 22 more fucking times. Another one, for an example, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman hit Brock Lesnar with a knee, and immediately Brock got up and hit Braun Strowman in the jaw. And you can tell there was a legitimate fucking punch. Now, to their both things, they're both big guys, and neither one of them, there was no outstanding medical issue involved. Unlike this case, this one is going to have that outstanding medical issue. Now, there is just a glimmer of a shining light. The guy known as Mr. Beast, who's a big YouTuber, he is covering all the medical bills for Psycho Stu. I don't know what relationship they have or if he just felt bad about the situation, but he's come out and saying that he's got Stu's medical bills covered. But that's not saying...
Mr. Beast donates and gives money away a lot too. But now on top of that, I did see that Psycho Stu has a GoFundMe in addition to that with over 63,000 in it, 2,500 given by Chris Jericho.
Wow, that's crazy. I know there was a thing earlier that someone had created a GoFundMe for him, but had nothing to do with him. And so they did come out with a post saying, do not, donate to this particular one because we don't know who this guy is. So hopefully everyone's donating to the right GoFundMe and not someone who's trying to take advantage of the situation. But definitely a hot topic and that I don't think is over, and we'll probably hear about this topic for weeks or even months to come, just because of how crazy and how stupid this was. But all right, we won't touch into Raw. It's on Netflix still. You guys can check it out if you want to cover it. there are some things that I bought in Vegas, but I always ask Bobby before I start running my mouth. Is there anything you picked up?
Did not. Just a buzz.
All right. So the first item I bought.
Other things stay in Vegas.
Except for herpes, that don't stay. That stuff follows you everywhere.
So the first thing.
Yeah, but you can get what's that, Valtrex now, and you can manage your outbreaks, Bobby. It's all right.
Yeah, but you still
You seem to know a lot about that.
All right. So the first thing I bought was actually at a toy store that Bobby went to first. I went to it last year, and I think I picked up some things last year from him too. But Bobby took a mutual friend of ours named James there, and James didn't find this figure, but he definitely wanted it after he realized I bought it. But I bought this Undertaker here. It was loose, but everything was with him. So his hat, his mask comes off. This was, speaking of injuries and people taking advantage. Undertaker, if you listen to his 6 Feet Under podcast, not his new one, his old one, he talks about Viscera, who he said was a great guy, but was a really shitty worker. Always end up hurting everyone he wrestled. And he gave the Undertaker a splash and came down on his head and broke his orbital bone. And Undertaker is one of those guys that if he gets hurt, he is still going to wrestle hurt. And he's said that many times, that he's had, times where he couldn't walk to the ring and had someone adjust him, like Harley Race adjust him so he can go walk to the ring and actually have the match. But the Undertaker, with a broken orbital bone, start wearing this heavy duty mask. And this figure reflects that period in time. So very cool pickup. This was a toy store right across the street from Pawn Stars. So another cool place to check out too. They didn't have any wrestlers this time, which kind of irritated me because I went there thinking that I was going to find some, because they normally have LJNs and Hasbros and all that stuff, but they didn't have them this time around. So there's another toy store that normally when Pawn Stars has an issue with toys that come in, they call this guy up as their expert. He has a toy store on the Strip. I wish I can remember the name of it, but it's escaping me right now.
Johnny something. He's in the video I just posted. I had him do a drawing for my names too.
Toy Shack, was it? I think it's called Toy Shack, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the name of the shop. His name's Johnny.
Right. So at the Toy Shack, I was looking through their wrestling section, and I picked up. I have a bunch of Terry Funks in my collection. Well, he's hidden, but he's behind the NWO guy. But I never had a Chainsaw Charlie, which was very weird at the time. They wanted Terry Funk to come in and work with Mick Foley, but they wanted to change his name. So why would you have Terry Funk, who is known worldwide as Terry Funk, change his name? But they did, and it was Chainsaw Charlie. So he actually wore like a pantyhose mask, which you can see kind of if the glare's out of the way. And he would come down to the ring in it, and he would actually bring a chainsaw with him too. And
that's a good. If you paid $25, that's a good price for that.
Yes, very good price. Now, they had some shit there that was like everyone. If you're trying to buy a Hogan right now, you're gonna pay probably 5 times what the value is. And there was some Hogans in there that I have, and some that I didn't, and I was just astonished by the prices they were asking for these figures. But I actually eBayed him, just checked on eBay to see how much he was going for. And in the package, he's going for about $65 to $70. So I paid $25 at the shop, which is a great deal. And I know this is the first version of Chainsaw Charlie that I have in the collection now. Then I bought one that I had in my collection, and I used to have it hanging on my wall in my basement where most of my toys are. But so when Jordan was a young kid, I would put all my collection in the closet. And Jordan, too, would go into the closet when I wasn't there, and he would rip open these boxes and get the figures out. So then I started putting everything in totes and hiding it. But I kept one when we eventually moved to this house. I kept one on the wall, and it was because I liked that one, and I wanted to show it off. Well, my youngest son, Dylan, decided that he wanted that figure and ripped it off the wall, ripped it out of the package, and played with it. But it was the Bruiser Brody. And so I found him, and he was for $40. And since then I have my son's collection. Dylan quit playing with wrestlers and just donated them to me, and I have them in the cabinet. I still claim them as Dylan's because it's a bunch of wrestlers that don't mean nothing to me. But it's nice to just see a full cabinet full of wrestlers. And he still picked up the ones that I do love, like the Ultimate Warriors and the Ravishing Rick Rudes. So there's still a handful of them that I love. But I was so glad to pick this guy up, Minton Box, Bruiser Brody. I looked again at eBay when I was there at the store, and hit this particular figure is going for $100 to $150. Now, when I searched for these, I searched everywhere in the wrestling spot. So what I'm assuming, because everything else was so fucking expensive, that since these were probably hidden when they were changing the prices, that they forgot to change the prices of these guys. And I just happened to be there at the right time, right day, and snagged them up because these two are clearly worth more than what I paid for. So it's nice to have a representation of them in the box, because I still have this figure because Dylan gave them back to me, but I don't have the chain. I don't have the fur boots. So it's kind of cool to have all of it. And then the one auction that I did win at the CACs, I won, and I didn't think I was going to because, again, they closed them out before I was able to make sure. But I got this autographed Kama, otherwise known as the Godfather, Good Father, Papa Shango. But he is autographed with a paint pen, which is great because the paint pen won't come off now. And it's very cool. Now, he was at the roast of Mick Foley, so I don't know if he signed it then. But he was also at last year's CAC or the year before, one of the two. So at some point in time, they got him to sign this figure, and now it's in my possession. So very cool that he's autographed, and he's mine. So that's what I got in Vegas. Very cool. It was a very cool week. Watching this, you definitely should become a member if you're a wrestling fan or you're in wrestling one shape or another. Referee, person put up thing, wrestler, anything, you should do this. Become a member. It's $25 a year, or a lifetime member. I think they just changed the price. It was $2 something, it's $3 something to become a lifetime member. But all of it goes back to wrestling legends we all loved as a kid, and it's to the ones that, for one reason or another, meaning have medical issues, we can't keep up paying for the medical bills. I've seen and they didn't have money and they were going to lose their house. So the CIC, took on the house payments. So anything, if they're just need, the CIC will come and help. And it's a great organization because of that. Because we always talk about how back in the day, they didn't have any, ways, unless you saved every damn penny. There was no retirement, there was no medical coverage unless you eventually made an office. And sometimes that's what you had to do. Once your time was up as a wrestler, you try to make your way in the back behind the curtain, so that way you can actually have a medical health, benefits. But this organization takes over when our legends have fallen through hard times. So, and it's a great week out there. A couple wrestling shows. There was 3 wrestling shows this week. I only made it to 1. A couple seminars. Hopefully they get a little bit better on the seminars. Definitely great time meeting these people. And because they're just roaming around freely. And, the people that are going in to get their plaques, they're just roaming around freely. So you're constantly into them, being able to take a picture.
What shows are coming up for SICW?
So SICW, let me get my black book out.
While he's looking that up, I did just see, so I'm going to give a shout out to him. Our former referee, Colonel Andy Freeman, will be refereeing for NWA down in Houston, Texas, the Dog Pound or something like that.
Yeah, so Dog Pound is ran by, oh shoot, what's her name? Jax. Is it Jax? Oh, now I'm going to have to look real quick. Because I hate to. Jazz, thank you.
And then Mark Henry's going to be on that show as well.
Who is?
Mark Henry.
Okay. So Jazz and her husband, who is known as Red, he had another wrestling name as well, but they run that promotion, and they have a working relationship with James Beard. So I was able, and I told Andy that I would do this. I talked to James Beard for Andy, and then I talked to James Beard with Andy, and he told Andy what to do, and that he would talk to Jazz for him. And he did that, and then Andy talked to Jazz, and it was all set up. So now the referee that I love to hate, because I got him out of SICW, is now working in Texas. So props to Andy. Moving on to other organizations. So SICW in the month of September, we have basically 4 shows. The first one is September 6th. We are working NASCAR. It's 2 days though, so the 6th and the 7th. We are working both days of NASCAR, so the qualifying and the actual race itself. And then the 13th of September, we're going to Sandoval, which I'm actually doing a surprise pop-up on the 12th in Sandoval. They're bringing me out to the high school to talk about anti-bullying. So you can catch me in Sandoval on the 12th, and then the rest of the SICW family on the 13th.
You're going to go talk to them about anti-bullying and be like, I just hit people with lariats when I have a problem.
Yeah, I get paid. And then we're back at the Raceway on the 27th. So it's a full month, basically working at the races, because the ring is going to be at the races on the 19th through the 23rd. So they're going to have the ring for a whole week there as well. But yeah, 6th, 7th, and the 27th at the Raceway, and then the 13th at Sandoval. And there's a special note on the Sandoval. We just got word that Luke of the Bushwhackers is going to be there. So it's pretty cool. I know even though he's up in age, he still wrestles. So I don't know if he'll be wrestling that night or if he'll just be there to be the legend in the house. But either way, it's cool. He just got his tag team just got the tag team award this year at the CAC, and he's actually got beef with Attila. Him and Attila wrestled down in Tennessee. If it wasn't a year ago, it was probably a year and a half ago. And I think Butch pulled the card that night and got a victory over Attila. So we'll see if this is going to be a rematch or something else. But yeah, so that's everything in a nutshell, I guess. You guys got anything else to talk about?
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
Perfect.
I did win a raffle while I was there.
Oh yeah. Give a shout out to that, because that's like the #1 steak place.
Yeah, and then I get a 2 free night stay there.
Well, what's the name of the steak place?
Oscars.
So we won't say his name, but a friend of ours won this gift certificate a couple years ago, and took his wife to this place, and it was $150 off.
Yep.
So $150 off your your tab, and they went and gave him the tab, and it was still like $300. And he's like, "Oh no, I had this coupon, $150 off." And he goes, "That's the costs with that coupon." So we
already put that off.
So very expensive steak place. And I suggested Bobby leave the wife at home and just go to the steak place by himself. It'd be cheaper that way. But
I could end up paying for that though.
Yeah, maybe not in the long run. But all right, so that's this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know you guys will catch this on Thursday. But both of you stick around for just a second after we end this. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this kind of material, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts with us. We love feedback, and we love giving feedback to whatever questions you have or whatever comment you got to say. But till we see you again at the wrestling shows, you guys have a good night.
See ya.